Hi guys, my name is Emily, and today I am reviewing the last part of The Lord of the Rings because I finally finished it. Yes, it took forever, but I'm happy that I actually persevered and finished this series. So this is The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. It was published in 1955, and this is of course the final part of the series. I feel like this book was a lot quicker to read than the other two. I felt like some parts in the first two books just dragged. They really dragged. Whereas I didn't feel that so much in this third part. I don't know why. Whether it's because I was just more excited because I was closer to being done, or if the writing actually changed, I'm not sure. Maybe one day I'll read it again. So this is the one where Aragorn becomes king, where Eowyn is thoroughly disappointing, where Frodo gets worn out, and Sam becomes a freaking hero. This is the one where they accomplish their goal and actually destroy the ring. Yeah. I feel like everyone knows kind of what The Lord of the Rings is, and they either love the movies or they, quietly hate them. But because there's such love for The Lord of the Rings, and hopefully you can tell that I do love these books, I'm going to talk about two things that bothered me, just because I could fangirl for hours, but the two things that bothered me will take shorter. So, here we go. Eowyn. Eowyn bothered me. I remember, possibly because the movies have distorted my understanding of this moment, I remember Eowyn being a total badass. Everyone that I've been talking to, they're like, yeah, Eowyn, she's amazing! Oh my god, she's so great! Based on the books, I have to disagree. She kind of seems to be this broken shell of a person, and she goes to war because she wants to feel something again. Like, they describe her as being beautiful on the outside but frozen on the inside, and so it seems like she makes this, what seems to be kind of badass move of going to war, not because she really wants to participate in, like, the glory of war, but because she wants to feel something. Like, that the I hurt myself today to see if I still feel Johnny Cash cover kind of thing. It seems like that is more the mentality for her going to war. She's described as this beautiful, beautiful thing, but somehow cold and closed and frozen on the inside. It's only later when Faramir says that he loves her that she has this inner thawing, and she's like, oh my god, I'm loved! I'll never go to war again! And there's actually a moment in the book where they're like, and she never picked up a sword again. It's like she needed a man's love to fill this emptiness inside her that made her do the badass things. So, I didn't like that. Also, I've been talking about this moment with various people. The moment where she has that play on words, where it's like, no man can kill me, and she's like, F you, I'm a woman, die, kind of thing. Like that, I remember being really epic and really witty, and reading it, it kind of almost seemed like an accident. A happy accident, but she just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Which is not to say that that's not badass, but for some reason I feel like this moment has been hyped up a lot more than the text actually makes it. Also, I'm reading this series specifically looking for the female characters and kind of looking at the problematic moments. So I'm specifically turning a feminist lens on the text. So maybe I'm a little more critical of these moments than I ought to be, but that's what I'm doing for my thesis. So maybe one day I'll read them without this lens in mind and I'll enjoy the scene. I don't know. But right now, didn't so much enjoy Eowyn. A little disappointing. So my second thing that bothered me is the fact that Sam isn't given much credit for the amount of work that he actually does. Frodo is the ring bearer and all that, and I get that that's a heavy burden on Frodo personally. It's not a first-person narrator, right? So we're never in Frodo's head. We just have other people looking at Frodo and being like, gee, he looks like crap, he's really struggling. We don't get all the feels that Frodo must be feeling. Maybe he has this really big struggle, but from the outside perspective, he just looks worn out and tired, and everyone's just like, oh, he's so tired, I'll give him some extra food, I'll give him some extra water. And especially Sam, who, at great personal sacrifice, giving up his own food and water and physically carrying Frodo up the mountain so that he could accomplish this task. I feel like Sam deserves more credit than he gets. Frodo is the main character of this story, but he never would have accomplished his task if Sam hadn't physically carried him up the mountain on his back, and I'm just not sure that Sam gets all the credit that he deserves, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Those are my two little things. Some things that I did enjoy, because I did enjoy some things, is the Sam and Frodo stuff. I did enjoy the Sam and Frodo interaction. So there's this scene near the end of the book where Frodo's all like, "Oh, hey Sam, wanna move in with me? Best buddy, best chum slash lover? Question mark? Can we apply a queer lens to this text? I don't know. Maybe I'll do that one day." And Sam's like, but I kinda wanna marry Rosie." And Frodo's like, "Oh, okay." But there's this moment where Frodo's just like, "Yeah, you should totally move in with me." I think Sam and Frodo have a very interesting friendship. And it might be interesting to do a queer reading of The Lord of the Rings specifically to look at that friendship. And maybe not queer in the sense of homosexual, but queer in the sense of just an alternative masculine friendship. We don't see this type of relationship all that often, where we have two main characters that are comfortable hand-holding and crying together and kissing each other's hands. Like, that's a very intimate male friendship that we don't see a lot of. So Lord of the Rings has potential in other places for interesting reading. Overall, the rating for specifically the third book, 4 out of 5 stars. The rating for the series as a whole, probably 3 out of 5 stars. There is a significant lack of female characters, so while I liked the series, I don't think it's anywhere near perfect by like the Goodreads standard of scoring things. It's not a perfect book in my mind specifically because of the lack of female characters, which I know is a product of its time, but this is my opinion. As much as I love this fantasy world, I can recognize that for me it has some flaws. So there we go. I would really like to see some female characters who do things and who talk to each other about things that aren't men, because we do have female characters, but they're always talking to men about manly things. Like, they don't just talk to each other and have real conversations, because I don't think any one of these women meets the other women. They're just all isolated incidents of women. I really enjoyed the series. It took me a long time, but I did really enjoy it. And if you've only watched the movies, or maybe you've started the series and you kind of got bored with it, I don't think that there's anything wrong with kind of starting and slowly working your way through the series, because I know it can be a little tedious, but maybe, you know, don't be totally monogamous to the series. I certainly wasn't. I was reading many things in between these, and I think that made it easier to get through almost, because they at times can be quite overwhelming. I would definitely recommend that if you haven't read the books but you love the movies, definitely try. I know a lot more now, and I know that's like a duh moment, of course you know more. Everything that the movies skipped by fast, I got to spend a lot of time with the book. So, whole new appreciation for The Lord of the Rings and Tolkien and all that jazz. It's fantastic. Go forth and read and such. Thank you for watching this somewhat long and rambly video. I will see you soon with another video. Bye!